Alright, these are your notes on the scientific method. Please make sure that you have the fill-in sheet that goes with the notes before you begin. And pause and rewind and watch the video as many times as you need to be able to fill in those blanks. So these are our notes on the scientific method. Scientific inquiry is the way that scientists study the natural world and propose explanations based off evidence they have gathered. For the scientific method, there are 6 steps. The first step is to have a question, and it's a question that you've made about an observation. Okay? If you make an observation and you pose a question about it, you need to research to find out what information is already known. So that way you're not asking a question that's already been answered. You've got something new. The second step then is to form a hypothesis. A hypothesis should answer your question that you're asking. Okay? A hypothesis is not a fact. It is testable, and it is written in if-then form. So if I do this, then this will happen. The next step, step 3, is to test your hypothesis. You're going to test your hypothesis by doing a controlled experiment. Your experiment needs to produce the type of data that will answer your question. Okay, so it's got to be linked to your hypothesis. And then you're going to test your hypothesis more than once. Okay, because we want to make sure that if we're getting results, that they're going to be consistent results. Step 4 then is to analyze your results. Okay, did your experiment test your hypothesis? Because if it didn't, then you've got to go back to testing your hypothesis and getting a different experiment. Step 5 then is where you draw conclusions. Okay, this is a summary of what you learned from the experiment. Okay, so you would write like a paragraph explaining what you learned at this point. And then number 6 is to communicate your results. You're going to share your results with other scientists and students. You could share them with the public, you could share them with the media. That's the communication part. To help you remember these steps, we've made a phrase. The phrase is question Fred today after drawing class. So question Fred today after drawing class. Okay, if you remember those, they should help you remember the question. The F in Fred stands for form hypothesis. The T in today stands for test hypothesis. The A in after is analyze results. D in drawing is drawing conclusion. And C in class is to communicate. So it should help you to remember those steps if you can remember that phrase. All right, we're going to put our experiment or our scientific method to the test. Okay, I have a question, and I've actually did a little experiment on my own son. But the question was, if I call my son upstairs and there's $1 on the floor, then he would see it. That's my question. So I have set up an experiment where I'm going to call him up into the room that I'm at, and I've laid $1 on the floor. So I'm going to see if when he passes it, if he sees it. Okay, now I'm only going to do my, because of the sake of time, I'm only going to do my test once. Okay, but that's my question, is will he see that? And I'm going to run through the test. So I'm going to pause my video here for a second, and then it'll click right over for you into a clip of what my son does when I call him upstairs. Okay, so right here you see there's the $1 bill, and my son's about to come up these stairs. So let's see what happens. Okay, so obviously he didn't see that $1. So that tells you that my hypothesis wasn't correct. And that's okay. It doesn't have to be. Okay, now I could do some more tests and then see that if every time he never sees the $1, but this one test was all I had time for to show you. Okay, so after we have tested, analyzed my results, does my experiment that I tested or that I ran answer the question to my hypothesis? And the answer is yes. Okay, it does. So then I'm drawing conclusions. I kind of already did some. The conclusions we can draw are, does he see the dollar? No, he didn't. Okay, would he see it again if I did the experiment? Possibly. Okay, and then communicate my results. I'm communicating my results with you right now. Okay, so again, question Fred today after drawing class. Those are the steps that scientists go through to be able to do experiments. Okay, so fill in those notes and make sure you glue it into your ISM.